Hey gamers! I found a video by someone named AnnaWaifu covering a game theory episode on why Kirby is not a heroic character, and I'll be referring to game theory as MatPat throughout the rest of this video because it's convenient. Now, MatPat's video wasn't particularly great. In fact, fellow commentator Aaron Tempest covered it, and though I know ex-commentator Dick Sponge didn't like that video, at the same time though, Dick Sponge owes Aaron 20 bucks, so it's not like his opinion really matters. Anyways, with that being said, Anna didn't do a good job covering this video, so that's why I'm here.
Okay guys, before this video starts, I just want to say that if you can hear any banging in the background, I apologize for that. We're having people over doing something with the fireplace, and you might hear some banging in the background. I apologize for that.
Did you really have to say I apologize for that twice? I have the redundancy department of redundancy on speed dial.
I'm sorry, who said what about Aaron?
You missed your cameo spot by one interjection.
Anyway, enjoy the video.
Don't tell me what to do.
Chicken.
Don't get me wrong, this video is, kind of old or whatever, but it's still on his channel, so, I'm assuming that he still thinks of it as fact. I mean, he thinks a lot of his videos are fact, even when people made tons of videos on him, exposing his theories for being stupid. But hey, at least I'm here, huh? At least I can join the party.
Since when does MatPat think of his videos as fact? As he even says at the end of all his videos, that they are just theories. You can see that as damage control, and maybe it is, but to reinforce that something is theory, that would in turn reinforce that something is not fact. Even then, why does leaving a video up on his channel matter, when he has done that with pretty much every video he has made? There are exceptions, like the best boobs in gaming theory, but that was taken down for reasons that had nothing to do with the theory being bad, but rather it just being inappropriate. You haven't even started commentating on him, and yet you are already stretching for points.
But today, you will be debunked, MatPat. I will debunk your stupid Kirby theory because Kirby is love, Kirby is life, and I will defend Kirby till the end. So, let's get started.
Nope, I am not letting you play out the entirety of MatPat's intro simply because you like it. That is a complete waste of time because you're not debunking anything.
Chicken.
If you want to help me, hand me another bag of them chips.
So you have a skip card and you couldn't actually use it to skip the intro? Are you kidding me?
For the hardcore gamers who, play Kirby games. As a result, you have this interesting duality that exists in Kirby games. Cute on the outside, but dark and twisted on the inside, like a rotting Tootsie Roll Pop.
Why did you put your own background music over MatPat's video? It just comes off as kind of grating and distracting, and it would have been such an easy fix. Just keep your background music over the parts with your audio.
So what is Kirby? Is he hero of pop star, or is he world-consuming villain? A pink puffball for good, or a fiery god of evil? The games tell us.
So you guys realize when we watch this, the more MatPat goes on, the more he uses a thing called circumstantial evidence?
Cutting off MatPat mid-sentence is really jarring editing, not gonna lie. Yeah, I know. The past few interjections have been nitpicks. I swear, I will be making real arguments soon.
Below circumstantial evidence. The type of evidence that's kind of convenient and coincidental, but he uses that as evidence anyway.
Man, this would be such an epic gamer interjection if it had literally anything to do with what Matthew Patthew was saying. Matrick is literally just setting up the theory. He hasn't presented any evidence yet, so this point is just preemptive and well-poisoning at best.
Not to mention that he takes everything out of context. You guys will see that in a second.
Wouldn't this point make more sense after he takes something out of context?
Time and again that he's a hero, but can we believe what they're saying? Surprisingly, Kirby lore does have an answer. Over the years, the games have slowly been revealing more and more of what the true nature of Kirby is, and the answers they're starting to give are shocking. No, Kirby is not a hero. but he's also not necessarily evil either. It's my theory that, if you manage to piece together all the clues sprinkled throughout the series, canonically speaking, Kirby is a reincarnated god of destruction, the equivalent of a mindless super weapon related to some of the deadliest and scariest antagonists that have been haunting these games from the very beginning. It sounds crazy.
Well, I hope you don't take things out of context and use circumstantial evidence to make a game character look bad, like you have done hundreds of times with people like Mario.
Okay, but what was the point of this? Just because he has done this before, it doesn't necessarily mean that he is doing it again, because people can always improve from their past mistakes. MatPat hasn't even elaborated on the theory yet, so you popping in every few seconds to say something that doesn't matter is starting to get annoying.
It may seem that Kirby's a hero because he's constantly saving his home dreamland from multiple intergalactic threats, but upon closer inspection you'll see one common thread across all of his stories. Kirby is the one unleashing the threats in the first place. In Kirby's Adventure, the second game of the series, Kirby is on a quest to restore dreams to Dreamland. To do this, we're told that he has to collect pieces of the Star Rod, which was shattered by the evil King Dedede. In truly heroic form, Kirby assembles the shards, defeats Dedede, and Dedede begs him to stop. Literally gets dragged across the ground as he tries to convince Kirby to stop what he's about to do. But Kirby, who you'll quickly learn is surprisingly stubborn for a pink blob, ignores Dedede and goes through with replacing the Star Rod.
Maybe the reason Kirby did that wasn't because he's an evil psychopath.
MatPat doesn't claim that Kirby is a psychopath, but okay, sure.
It's probably because Dedede has lied so many times and done horrible, terrible things that Kirby at this point just doesn't really believe him. Also, why would he think that not repairing the Star Rod would not bring doom onto Dreamland? I mean, he was literally told to do that. I mean, I wouldn't believe King Dedede. I mean, he literally bathed in the fountain, and that's supposed to be like sacred grounds for Dreamlanders. I wouldn't believe King Dedede. He's tried to kill Kirby multiple times. Like, come on, MatPat.
But given Dedede's extreme reaction to what Kirby's doing, as in begging and pleading, that would indicate that something serious will happen. And even then, someone's past behaviors wouldn't really invalidate their current ones, since Dedede is still correct about the awful consequences. You sucked before, so you'll suck now. It's overall just incredibly faulty logic. And dismissing it because, oh, Dedede has done bad before is, well, dismissive. Liars are liars based on them lying, and you cannot just assume that Dedede will keep lying. That is stupid. Even then, you don't give any examples of how Dedede has lied before, so whoops! Like, not everyone in the audience is a Kirby fan. Some people may have clicked on the video because you're attempting to debunk game theory.
Pro tip number 80.
Super Bowl! All that much. But Kirby doesn't need a reason anyway. He just agrees and jumps into action, beating up a dragon that he knows literally nothing about.
Hundreds of video game protagonists always beat up enemies they know nothing about. At least Kirby knows that this enemy tried to, kill Magalore or whatever because it destroyed the ship and tried to come after him. Duh.
But why would that matter? We're not talking about other video game protagonists. We're talking about Kirby. Even then, just because hundreds of characters do something, that doesn't mean that it's okay when Kirby does it. Hundreds of people lie. That doesn't suddenly justify the lies I dealt with in the past. This is not an argument, and therefore it debunks nothing.
By Marx, who wishes to take over Popstar, meaning that for a third time now we see a villain taking advantage of our innocent Kirby. Kirby goes on to defeat Marx, but also has to destroy Nova in the process, leaving the universe one step back from where this quest first started, and ultimately invalidating all the bloodshed from all those planets that he just visited.
Okay, let me ask you this, MatPat. What did you want Kirby to do?
Considering how his argument so far has been that Kirby is a walking weapon of mass destruction, it's clear that he wants Kirby to not be as destructive.
To just let Marx take Nova and destroy the entire world? The entire point of him going over to Marx to fight him was that Marx was going to take over Popstar and the entire planet and the world. What did you want Kirby to do? just sit back and watch? Also, why is destroying Nova such a bad thing? I mean, that's actually a good thing to destroy all these, you know, comments. Yes, they're comments. They're not watches, they're comments. Also, yeah, that's a pretty bad thing now I'm thinking about it. Like literally any villain can take advantage of that. That's a horrible thing. I think Kirby did the right thing by destroying it. Like, what the hell, man?
But why would he have to destroy Nova in the process of beating Marx? Why can't he just defeat Marx? Given how Nova is merely a wish granter, he would not be the one who needs to be destroyed in the conflict. By the time Marx had his wish of taking control of Planet Popstar granted, Nova was taking off because Nova is merely a third party who will grant wishes to whoever and wouldn't know Marx was evil. Friendly reminder that Marx straight up took Kirby's wish. And I guess you could argue that Nova is a bad guy because he attempts to attack Kirby from the inside, but that's merely a self-defense mechanism. It's kind of like how your body has white blood cells to attack bacteria and stuff.
But it's the fourth time that's really the charm for Kirby and starts to show the problems with his character. In Squeak Squad, Kirby's strawberry shortcake goes missing and Kirby immediately jumps to the conclusion that it must be the work of King Dedede. No investigation, no evidence, just a pure guess that it's the king.
That long pause was really not necessary.
Again, he probably thought it was King Dedede because King Dedede has done this before. He has stolen food from Dreamland before.
And it would be a stupid inference to make because Kirby has no real evidence to prove his case. And given how he turned out to be wrong, this is you making excuses rather than actual arguments. Again, the past is not the best indicator of the future, or present, or however time works. I've been depressed for so long to the point where I cannot tell.
And from there, it's straight to clobbering time, with Kirby inhaling his way through Dreamland's inhabitants who have nothing to do with the cake. Kirby doesn't even assume that they have anything to do with the cake, and yet he still feels it necessary to destroy them as he goes past. Finally, he gets to the castle where he promptly roughs up the king. Again, a huge amount of violence for some missing strawberry shortcake. And true to his ask questions later mentality, it's only after Dedede is passed out on the floor thanks to the Kirby beatdown that it suddenly occurs to him, quote, "Of course Dedede doesn't know anything about the cake." A bit late to figure that one out, huh, Kirby?
I mean, that could have just been the narrator. I don't think that was Kirby talking, but sure, whatever, MatPat, sure.
And your reasons for thinking this is a narrator are... That's right, you have none. So this point is nothingness.
Also, what's wrong with Kirby wanting to get his strawberry shortcake back? Like, come on.
He literally explained this. Kirby pins blame on Dedede for very little reason, and then commits genocide on the local ecosystem because of his cake. Now, is MatPat correct? I mean, I have never played Squeak Squad because I'm an anti-furry, but my point is, you have not proven him wrong. You do not get to question something when your question has already been answered. That's just dumb.
Chicken.
Gonna hold my anger for this one. Gonna hold my anger. Okay, first of all, the box would have been opened anyway. I mean, if you look in that cutscene, the Squeak Squad leader, like, opened the box anyway, so that doesn't mean anything. Like, oh my gosh.
What's the point of saying first of all when you don't follow it up with a second of all or another argument in this interjection? Yeah, I know I'm nitpicking, but this still annoyed me, so into the script it went. Like, the point itself is okay, which is why I skipped over MatPat, but I'm a nitpicky jerk, so this point stands.
And Freddy Fazbear, oink oinky oink oink.
In Squeak Squad, it's even more telling. We literally just see someone release a galactic evil, and here's Kirby just worried about his cake. In fact, the game makes it very clear that that's the only reason he goes on to fight Dark Nebula. Quote, "The smoke envelops the Squeaks and disappears into space. How awful. At this rate, the strawberry shortcake will be lost forever."
Again, that could have just been the narrator, dude. come on, man. I can't, man.
This is even worse than the previous attempt to dismiss points based on a possibility of a narrator, not just because we don't really know if this is a narrator or not, so this point is merely a guess and therefore not objective fact that can debunk someone, but also because narrators as a literary device are often used as a means to explain the story, which would include the motivations of the characters. And given how Kirby usually doesn't talk in the main series games, aside from making cute noises, this being a narrator wouldn't really get rid of how Kirby's motivations are misplaced. Now, do I definitively know if this was a narrator or not, or the reasons for why this text is here? No, not really. But my point is that you cannot assume. Though, if I can cover MatPat for a second, the text on screen clearly says that Kirby must find the cake and solve the mystery of the smoke. His motives involving the cake might be misguided, but that's not the only reason why he does what he does.
I can't, man. Why are you doing this? Why do you like to make every main character look like a bad guy? I don't understand.
I mean, that's not inherently a problem as long as his evidence holds up and his points are good, so...
Also, with the Landia situation, yeah. Like, what was Kirby gonna do? He was, like, Magalore was like a god at that point. But what about everybody else? King DDD and Meta Knight were just standing there too. Like, what?
You cannot deflect points onto DDD and Meta Knight when the video is specifically about Kirby though, so their actions would not be relevant.
This doesn't make any sense.
You don't make sense.
Even at the end of the game, Kirby, who just saved the universe, only is happy when his cake is returned.
Oh look, there's more evidence to suggest that Kirby is mainly motivated by cake and not doing the right thing. So I must ask, why did you question the relevance of the cake?
Kirby eventually aligns to the side of good, but it's rarely because he chooses to be good. He's the embodiment of a chaotic neutral force. Now compare his actions to those of both DDD and Meta Knight. DDD breaks the Star Rod to protect Dreamland, giving Meta Knight one of the shards to guard. The Pandora's box that successfully keeps Dark Nebula contained is housed in DDD's castle for safekeeping. And when the king loses possession of it, Meta Knight is the one who steps in to prevent it from getting open because the game outright says he knows what's in there. These are heroic characters, purposely putting their lives on the line to...
Oh my god. Okay, I just want to mention to everybody that these are heroic characters, right? These are heroic characters? Dude, in Kirby Superstar and Superstar Ultra, Meta Knight literally started a war because he thought the Dreamlanders were too lazy. Not only that, but King DDD has stolen food from Dreamland multiple times and tried to kill Kirby multiple times for literally no reason other than his ego. Like, really? These are not heroic characters.
Meta Knight and DDD have done a lot of wrong, and I can agree to that. You know who else can agree to that?
Defeat evil, even if their methods are sometimes misguided or questionable.
Right as you cut back, MatPat straight up says that DDD and Meta Knight have done a lot of wrong, meaning that he is perfectly aware of how they have screwed up. So going, oh, but they have done bad things, wouldn't debunk anything, since that wouldn't necessarily make their more heroic actions disappear.
What you know about?
But screw that, Kirby boards the Hellbird and blows up the entire ship. When the crew decide they want to go down with their captain, Meta Knight outright warns them, "You are about to perish. I'm sorry." That is an exact quote. Again, this is in a Kirby game. And here's Meta Knight saying, "You all are gonna die." Meanwhile, here's Kirby jetting away without a care in the world, and then watches as a ship full of people crash lands into the ocean. He literally watches.
What? Meta Knight tried to start a war because he thought that Popstar was too lazy. He thought the Dreamlanders were so lazy.
Okay, but when does this idea of Meta Knight starting a war come into play? You clearly have footage of Revenge of Meta Knight on screen, but you're not actually going to use it to prove your point? Like, I get that it's gameplay footage to give the audience something to look at, but you never really provide your own evidence in this video. It's literally just word of mouth, which isn't good enough when you're trying to debunk someone. The same problem applies to your next point, actually, where you make even more claims without evidence.
Also, no one on the ship died. Everybody got off the ship. Meta Knight was the only one that stayed on there. Like, the captain left first, and then the crewmates stayed behind to fight Kirby, but after Kirby defeated them, the crew members got off the ship. Meta Knight was the only one that stayed behind so he could kill Kirby.
You love to see it, folks. And by it, I mean laziness. If evidence is in Anna's gameplay footage, then she should have put up the evidence when it was necessary. I shouldn't have to skim the video for evidence that might not even exist on the off chance that she's making something up. For someone who outright says that MatPat cuts context, you do not provide the original context.
It all just goes to reinforce this idea that, for as cute as he is, Kirby just isn't very nice. In the puzzle game Kirby's Avalanche, we actually get some of the best examples of how he interacts with his fellow creatures in these games, and his personality is not cute. In the game, the premise is that you puzzle battle anyone you come into contact with as you journey your way to the Dream Fountain. So, true to Kirby games, Waddle Dee happens to be your first opponent on easy mode, and here's your interaction with him. Kirby, hi Waddle Dee, are you ready? Waddle Dee, can we just walk together? The forest scares me. Kirby, sorry, rules are rules. Here is a poor innocent creature scared in the woods, and Kirby responds with, too bad I have to beat you in a glorified Candy Crush mod.
Glorified Candy Crush mod. What is wrong with Kirby wanting some competitive spirit?
Kirby forces Waddle Dee to play a game that he clearly doesn't want to play. That is what was wrong. That's what MatPat was getting at. Making someone feel uncomfortable is a bad thing, is it not? Because Waddle Dee was clearly not comfortable with playing the game.
Pro tip number 80.
Super Bowl! Even other characters in this game recognize how mean Kirby can be. A few battles later, you're fighting against Waddle Doo. Quote again, you did not treat Waddle Dee with respect. Now I, Waddle Doo, will repay you in kind.
Oh look, there's the reason why MatPat was bringing up Kirby's interaction with Waddle Dee. Because Kirby treated Waddle Dee badly.
Boxy boo, but like not evil.
Sure, that game may not be canon, but you know what is? Kirby's dream.
Then what was the point of talking about it? This is what MatPat does. This is what MatPat does in all of his videos. He puts a non-canon source. Like, even in his Mario one, like his stupid toad, mushroom, fungi, whatever, he was like, but the cartoon is a canon source, so we can't use it. So why did you even mention this? Why'd you mention this? Why? Why? Even if this was canon, these people that Kirby are going up against are enemies. You know, people that try to kill him. So I don't think it's unreasonable for him not to want to associate himself. I can't.
Within the context of the game, they aren't really enemies though, since they are mainly just playing a game with Kirby. Like, Waddle Dee didn't do anything bad to Kirby, and Waddle Dee was only upset with Kirby because Kirby upset Waddle Dee. If you are going to argue that MatPat shouldn't have mentioned this game at all because it's a non-canon spin-off, which I do agree with, you also have to mention that spin-offs tend to recontextualize the characters from the main series.
Dreamland 3. Now, in past games in the series, you could argue that Kirby was attacking creatures because they were part of DDD's army. It's not the best argument, since relatively few actively attack Kirby, but you could make that case. Here, though, Kirby outright sees these creatures getting possessed, taken over by a mysterious dark substance from outer space. He should know that they're innocent, and yet he still chooses to swallow them, slice them in half with cutters, and stab them with swords anyway. It's just like Mario breaking the toads who'd been turned into bricks in the first game, except here it's even worse, since these creatures still look like Kirby's friends and
Hey Anna, I don't think it's a good idea to turn this video into a Let's Play without commentary when we are over 20 minutes into the video. No way! She remembered that she was making a debunking video!
Oh my god, dude. Yes, they're his friends, but they're getting possessed by dark matter. What do you want Kirby to do? Just sit back and let them do chaos? What do you want, dude? What do you want?
He wants Kirby to find a solution that doesn't result in violence against his friends. That should have been evident by him going over how Kirby is a force of mass destruction earlier in the video. Granted, maybe Kirby beating them up doesn't result in any lasting effects, but you don't really argue that, so your point is still bunk either way.
The same thing happens in Kirby and the Crystal Shards, when his friends are getting possessed, so he has to fight them to break them out of mind control. Like, again, MatPat, do you even play these games, dude?
I don't know why pointing to another game necessarily would debunk MatPat, since that would merely prove that similar events have happened before, or happened since. I don't know the Kirby timeline. My point is that your argument debunks nothing.
What the dog doing?
In Dynablade, a giant bird is out there damaging all the crops of Dreamland. But is that why Kirby takes on the mission? No, it's because Dynablade flies past and caused Kirby to get knocked on the head with an apple, ruining his nap and prompting a quest for bloody revenge. But
Stop ruining this game. Stop it. I want to cry. Why are you doing this? Like, okay. The first point you made, dude, that's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's so dumb. Like, okay, I can't. I don't know if I can do this. This is actually hurting me. It's actually hurting me.
Okay, can you just please get to the point instead of needlessly padding out the video?
Are you telling me that when Kirby woke up, he didn't see the damage Dynablade did?
I mean, did Kirby notice the damage Dynablade caused? Because MatPat shows that Kirby went after Dynablade due to Dynablade making an apple fall. Whereas you don't show anything.
I am Kinger, and I'm gonna recreate 9/11.
even if that wasn't the case, look at Kirby's behavior in this game. Kirby fights to protect the crops, beats up Dynablade, once again asks questions later, only to find out that she had kids that she was protecting.
How does damaging crops protect her children? She clearly was just doing it to be destructive or something like that.
When did he say that damaging crops was protecting the children? He clearly said that Kirby was fighting Dynablade to protect the crops. Even though he said that Kirby was fighting due to an apple that hit him on the head, but okay, sure, MatPat. And then he reveals that Dynablade's kids are orphans and it's Kirby's fault. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is a correlation between the crops and the kids, as he's literally just naming off two different aspects that contribute to his overall point.
Also, Dynablade started the conflict, not Kirby. That's stupid.
And MatPat never claims that Kirby did start the conflict. In fact, MatPat straight up says that Dynablade did destroy crops, meaning that Dynablade is not getting a free pass. He's saying that orphaning Dynablade's kids was a bad thing. This is just you resorting to a straw man because you're desperate for an argument.
And again, if you think all of this is a stretch, that I'm reading too much into these details, I'm not. The games at this point recognize the dangerous impulsiveness of Kirby, how it can be used for good, but also that it can be used as a weapon for evil. In fact, Kirby is descended from a line of evil creatures, a fact that the games are starting to make more and more explicit. So I ask again, what is the true nature of Kirby? He is a chaotic, neutral god reincarnated into multiple generations with the sole purpose of destruction.
You know, if we're using non-canon sources to go against Kirby, I'd just like to say, in the Kirby show, Kirby is seen to be a good creature from outer space. He was actually from, you know, a planet of Kirby's or something. I don't remember, because I haven't watched the show in years.
Stopping you right there. Didn't you get onto MatPat for using non-canon sources? And now you're using non-canon sources? I don't care about your reasoning, since this is just a double standard. And yeah, that's pretty much where the video ends. I don't really have final thoughts, so yeah, I'm going to end the video here.